The universal balance, beyond good and evil. Part 1, Introduction, the cosmic myth of opposition. From the earliest mythologies to the latest quantum theories, humanity has searched for a reason behind the paradoxes of existence, why joy is shadowed by sorrow, why creation walks hand in hand with destruction, and why love often births pain. For centuries, we've cast this paradox in moral terms, good versus evil, hoping perhaps to conquer one side and elevate the other. But what if this framing is incomplete? What if the universe doesn't operate on a moral binary, but on a deeper principle of equilibrium, like gravity and expansion, inhale and exhale, charge and discharge? What if, instead of battling darkness, we were meant to understand and integrate it? This essay explores the structure of balance woven into the fabric of existence, drawing on metaphysics, mysticism, physics, psychology, and mythology. We'll peel back the illusion of opposites and discover a deeper architecture of harmony, where evil may not be the enemy of good, but its crucible. Part 2, Duality Misunderstood, Good versus Evil or Yin and Yang. Duality is a law of manifestation. For something to exist, it must be distinguishable. This requires contrast. Day is not day without night. Light is not light without shadow. Yet somewhere along the way, contrast turned into conflict. Duality became dualism, and moral judgment overtook metaphysical balance. In many Western traditions, the universe is framed as a battleground between good and evil, angels versus demons, heaven versus hell. This binary logic has seeped into cultural consciousness, often painting suffering as a sign of failure or punishment, but other traditions offer a different lens. In Taoism, the yin-yang symbol holds light and darkness in mutual embrace. Yin, receptive, dark, feminine, and yang, active, bright, masculine, are not enemies, they are complementary dynamics. Each contains the seed of the other. The cycle of change, the Tao, is born from their dance. Similarly, in Hindu cosmology, Shiva, destruction, and Vishnu, preservation, are both aspects of divine order. Destruction is not evil, it's the force that clears space for renewal. Kali, the fierce goddess, slays ego, not out of malice, but to liberate consciousness. In other words, what we often call evil may actually be a misunderstood archetype of transformation. Part 3, Physics as Metaphor, Gravity, Expansion, and Balance. Even the physical universe is governed by opposing forces in dynamic equilibrium. After the Big Bang, gravity began pulling matter together, while dark energy caused the universe to expand outward. These forces remain in delicate tension. Without gravity, galaxies wouldn't form. Without expansion, the universe would collapse. Einstein's equations reveal that space-time bends under mass, and yet the very fabric of reality is always in flux. Stability arises not from stasis, but from movement held in tension. This metaphor scales upward to consciousness. Just as your body needs both sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, stress versus rest, your soul might need opposing experiences, joy and sorrow, safety and risk, to evolve. We see this principle in polarity theory as well, that evolution unfolds through the oscillation of opposites. Think of a pendulum, swing too far to one side, and life naturally corrects to the other. Equilibrium is not stillness, it is rhythmic harmony. So what if good and evil, rather than being moral endpoints, are actually energetic polarities, akin to charge and discharge, centripetal and centrifugal, needed to keep consciousness evolving? Part 4, The Role of Shadow in the Evolution of Light. In psychology, Carl Jung coined the term shadow to describe the repressed, denied, or unconscious parts of ourselves. He believed that to become whole, we must not reject the shadow, but integrate it. The gold, Jung said, is in the shadow, meaning our deepest growth lies in confronting what we fear, deny, or hate. Without facing the shadow, we remain fragmented, but by embracing it, we alchemize it into wisdom. This principle scales to the collective. Social evil often reflects the unconscious shadow of civilization, war, greed, oppression, but stamping it out externally without confronting it internally merely repeats the pattern. Instead, real change comes from integrative awareness, seeing where the villain lives in us, not just out there. Evil, then, becomes less of a moral anomaly and more of a necessary force that brings buried truth to the surface. Every mystic and initiatory path, from the Sufi whirling dervishes to the Christian desert fathers, has some form of descent into darkness before illumination. You must walk through the underworld to reach the divine. You must face the fire to find the soul. Part 5. The Tao of the Universe, Harmony, Not Victory. Modern culture tends to view history as a progression of winners and losers, heroes and villains. But nature doesn't operate on this logic. The forest doesn't mourn the fallen tree, it decomposes into soil and feeds the next generation. In the Tao, balance is not achieved through domination, but through mutual yielding. The soft overcomes the hard. The river carves stone not through force, but flow. In this sense, good is not meant to defeat evil. That would collapse the system. Instead, the two balance each other like flame and oxygen. The fire of transformation needs both passion and restraint. Harmony is not everyone being the same. It's every note knowing its place in the song. Discord arises not because of diversity, but because parts forget the whole. The goal, then, is not uniform goodness, but coherence of purpose. When we transcend the illusion of sides, we discover that the universe is not a war. It's a symphony of tension and resolution. Part 6. Consciousness and the Integration of Opposites. Mystics across time have described the divine as unity beyond polarity. The Kabbalistic tree of life balances mercy and severity. The Gnostic pleroma speaks of a fullness that contains all opposites. Even modern psychology points toward individuation, the process of becoming whole through the union of shadow and self. The more conscious we become, the more we integrate opposites. Love and boundaries, power and surrender, action and stillness, suffering and grace. This process is not always comfortable. Integration requires us to hold paradox, to resist simplistic judgments, and to see life not as a problem to solve, but a polarity to dance with. This doesn't mean everything is good. It means even what appears negative may contain a soul contract, a hidden initiation, or a karmic mirror. True wisdom is discernment without rejection. Part 7. Why evil exists in a loving universe. This question haunts many spiritual seekers. If the universe is loving, why is there evil? Why is there cruelty, genocide, abuse, despair? The answer, while not comforting, may be this: consciousness cannot evolve without contrast. You cannot choose love if there is no other option. You cannot transcend pain if you have never felt it. Just as a flame burns brighter against darkness, so too does the soul awaken through adversity. Some mystics believe we choose our incarnations, challenges and all, not as punishment, but as catalysts for growth. In that frame, evil is not divine, but it is used by the divine. Like manure fertilizing the lotus, suffering can birth awakening. What we call evil may simply be the experience of extreme separation, a state where consciousness forgets itself so fully that it causes harm. But even that state contains the seed of return. We are not asked to condone evil, but to alchemize it through presence, compassion, and transformation. Part 8. Transcending Moral Polarity, the Path of the Mystic. Mystics from Rumi to Ramana Maharshi have transcended moral binaries not by escaping the world, but by seeing through it. They speak of a love that holds both agony and ecstasy, of a self that is beyond personality, of a divine will that threads through joy and grief alike. To walk this path is not to become neutral, it is to become integral, to love fiercely but without clinging, to grieve deeply but without collapse, to act justly not from vengeance but from vision. The mystic understands that evil cannot be defeated by force, but only transmuted through consciousness, that hell is not a place but a forgetting, and heaven is not a reward but a remembering. Part 9. Real-world implications, spiritual maturity in a polarized world. In our polarized age, politically, spiritually, economically, this understanding is more vital than ever. When we label others as evil, we dehumanize them. When we frame our causes as purely righteous, we blind ourselves to our own shadows. This is how movements become dogmas, how revolutions become tyrannies. Spiritual maturity requires the courage to see the mirror in the monster, name the shadow without feeding it, protect the innocent without demonizing the guilty, uplift light while understanding the roots of darkness. It's not easy, but it's the path of embodied wisdom where we no longer fight for the light but become it. Part 10, Conclusion Beyond the Binary, Becoming the Whole. The deeper law of the universe is not good versus evil, it is wholeness through polarity. Growth happens through tension, awareness awakens through contrast, and love is tested and strengthened in the presence of fear. When we stop asking which side is right and start asking what wants to be integrated, we begin to live as alchemists of reality. You are not here to defeat darkness, you are here to illuminate it. You are not here to escape polarity, you are here to transcend through union. You are not here to be only good, you are here to become whole. And in that wholeness, you return to what you've always been. A cosmos not at war with itself, but dancing in perfect tension with grace.